I'm going to transport you into a story. Evil is resting in Edinburgh, Scotland. As a matter of fact, this isn't far from the truth. In the Scottish graveyard, known as Greyfriars Kirkyard, you'll find the infamous George Mackenzie's resting place, known as the Black Mausoleum. During the 1600s, as the king's advocate, Mackenzie had hundreds of rebels killed and put in mass graves that are said to be located under the Black Mausoleum. Some legends even say there is someone or something living down there. To find out if that is true or not, just stay to the end of this video. This is a Barrier Tale. The Black Mausoleum. It's shaking the environment around you, and you are shaking. Why are you shaking? It's dark as a black cat's fur in front of you. The air is stale and smells like dirt, like a really old building that hasn't been opened in a while. A flicker of light, a flickering light bulb, and for a split second you can see your environment. It's an old elevator, the type equipped with a see-through metal fence instead of a door. Then it's black again, as if an octopus just shot its ink into your eyes. Yes, it's the darkness that makes you shake. Shake with fear. The realization of not knowing if this malfunctioning elevator is going to arrive at its destination or not without stopping midway. And no one knows you're here either, so if the elevator would stop, then you'd be lost here forever. There's that flickering again, but this time it's more rapid. It blinks so quickly and rapidly that you start to feel almost dizzy by it. And a bright light. Crisp and fresh autumn air washes over you. You can see half of a bright orange circle at the horizon. Twilight light. Could this have been that bright light you just saw? But where is the old elevator? You're sitting on a bench in the middle of a park. In your lap, right in front of you, lies a map of Edinburgh, Scotland. Something on the map has been circled around with a red marker. It's a destination, Greyfriars Kirkyard. And in your right hand is a snow-white envelope. Before you manage to read the address on the envelope, you notice the look of your clothes. It's a postman's attire. Your gaze is now fixed on the address written on the envelope. There are two lines of text. On the first line, it says, Greyfriars Kirkyard, 1, 3rd floor. What is written on the second line, however, sends multiple chills down your spine. It says, the Black Mausoleum. You now stand right in front of the ominous-looking resting place of the infamous George Mackenzie, nicknamed Bloody Mackenzie, because of his evil deeds. The Black Mausoleum. The twilight sun is gone. Instead, faint moonlight lights up long strands of mist that cover the graveyard known as Greyfriars Kirkyard. In the moonlight, the strand-like mist looks like slithering ghosts, slowly floating around the graveyard's gravestones, observing you. The Black Mausoleum itself is an 8-meter high and 6-meter wide stone building that is cylinder-like and smooth. It certainly lives up to its name, because its color is indeed pitch black. You don't know if this is because of the night or if it looks like this during the day as well, but right now that wouldn't be a surprise. There are sculptures of Roman pillars and giant seashells weaved into the architecture of the building's outer walls, which are also covered with rococo-like floral designs, a resting place fitting for royalty. It could have felt beautiful if it wasn't for the feeling of dread and decay that the building's history and roof gives off. The roof looks like an upside-down colander with a thick layer of green weeds growing out of it. You see the snow-white envelope again and its address: Greyfriars Kirkyard 1, 3rd floor, the Black Mausoleum. There doesn't even exist an address called Greyfriars Kirkyard 1, and certainly no 3rd floor. This mausoleum is way too small for that. It wouldn't even fit 2 floors. There is only this graveyard and its looming mist. Suddenly, the ground around you rumbles and starts to vibrate. You feel weightless for a microsecond, then feel butterflies in your stomach. As that same feeling envelops your whole body, you fall straight down into the darkness under the graveyard. It's dark, surprisingly, and you're laying down on your side. There's a foul smell here, a combination of underground dirt and stale air that hasn't moved for centuries. As you open your eyes, something tickles everywhere. As soon as you move, something that feels like dirt and sand slides off your body and down onto the ground. As luck would have it, there's a flashlight in your pocket. As soon as you press the on switch on your lucky flashlight, you see that the walls surrounding you consist of dirt and stone. And there are hints of white in the dirt too. Are those white stones or the bones of George Bloody Mackenzie's victims? The area is a pretty small space, like parts of a tunnel. What your flashlight rests on makes your hairs along your neck feel electric. There's a wooden door with a mail slot made out of brass. And just above the slot, there's something written. As you stand in front of this mysterious and creepy-looking wood door, down here in the pitch-black darkness, right under a graveyard, you manage to read the text above the door's mail slot. Greyfriars Kirkyard 1, 3rd floor, the Black Mausoleum. Feel like someone just shoved an icicle down your neck. You see the snow-white envelope in your hand. Well, this is the right address, so the brass mail slot clangs as the snow-white envelope slides down into the gloom behind the mysterious wood door. A few seconds after you do, something truly horrific happens. Something bumps from behind the door, and you hear 2 deep and moaning words. Thank you. But that isn't the worst. As soon as the words have reached your ears, the wooden door rattles and shakes, just as if someone or something on the other side of the door is trying to get it open, but forgot to unlock it before doing so. The brass mail slot is forcefully swung open, and a pair of purple lights stares back at you through the mail slot. You're struck by panic. With your lucky flashlight in a tight, white-knuckled grip, you run for what feels like a couple of minutes along the winding tunnels of the underbelly of the graveyard. Then, just as the tunnel turns, you see a light in the distance. The light is coming from a light bulb that hangs loosely by a thread that is connected to the roof of an open elevator. As you're safely inside the elevator, you look and listen towards the tunnel corner you just came from, and everything is still. Relief washes over you. Now a bit calmer, you can see that the button panel of the elevator has 4 buttons. From the top, There is a 1, a 2, a 3, and at the very bottom, an open and close button. The address that got you here mentioned it was located on the 3rd floor. Elevators usually have their top floor button located at the top and then descends to lower floors, which means number 3 should normally be at the top. But the order of the elevator's floor buttons look a bit off. Number 3 is instead at the bottom, while number 1 is at the top. Does that mean floor number 3 is located at the very bottom? It would make sense, since you fell quite far to get here. Button number 1 should get you up to the surface. A bit of a gamble, but YOLO, right? After pressing the elevator's open-close button, its doors slams shut with a metallic rattle. And it's not any kind of door. It's a see-through metal fence, like those in older elevators. Have you seen this before? And just as this realization hits you in the distance, right around the corner that you just came from, there are a pair of purple lights slowly moving towards the elevator. Thank you. As you're struck by panic yet again, your hand instinctively slams the number 1 button, but in the moment your hand does so, your lucky flashlight drops to the elevator floor and rolls through the see-through metal fence and out on the dirt floor of the tunnel. The elevator hums and vibrates for a few seconds, then goes quiet. You hear deep moans as the purple lights come closer. The elevator forcefully rattles and starts to slowly ascend upwards as the purple lights disappear out of sight deep below you. Relief washes over you yet again as the shaking and vibrating elevator continues to slowly ascend. The light bulb connected to the roof of the elevator by a thin thread sways back and forth with the elevator's movements. With your lucky flashlight lost deep in the darkness, this light bulb currently acts as your only source of light. Then a small spark, and it's not coming from the light bulb, it's coming from the elevator's button panel. Another spark. Now the glow from the light bulb starts to flicker. Every moment the light bulb flickers off makes this cramped underground elevator pitch black. No, if something happens to this elevator, no one knows you're here. You'd be doomed. That realization alone makes your heart beat faster and faster. More flickering from light to darkness. The flickering in this situation gives off a familiar feeling. The flickering stays in darkness a lot longer now before it turns to light again. Yes, you've seen this before. You've been through this before. And boom, the number 1 button that should in theory lead you up to the surface and to safety completely pops out from the elevator's button panel and lands on the floor as the whole button panel sparkles with electricity. The elevator abruptly stops, shakes and vibrates for a few seconds. The electricity from the button panel slowly dies down, and the light bulb, your only source of light, pops. Everything around you is pitch black, as all lies still as in a grave. Pun intended. Because most likely you're surrounded by hundreds of the nameless victims of George Bloody Mackenzie, as he himself lies dead and buried up at the surface in the black mausoleum high above you. Then there's a sound. It's not possible to quite pinpoint it right now, and the dirt wall where the elevator's door is suddenly crumbles down completely. Beyond the crumbled wall, there's darkness, but also a faint orange light that illuminates the inside of the elevator, just enough for you to be able to see again. You see dirt, sand and stone, pouring onto the elevator's floor. The elevator's see-through metal fence is forcefully swung open and rattles horribly as a thin and grey arm suddenly grabs yours, and you stand eye to eye with those purple lights. Thank you. What is this purple-eyed thing that just grabbed you? The thing that appears to have been living under Greyfriars Kirkyard and the Black Mausoleum. Before I reveal that to you, did you know that there are individual dark fantasy stories available for purchase in Beery Tales' Patreon shop? After you watch this story, you can find a link to the Patreon shop in the link in the description or the pinned comment below. And now, let's finish this story. Fear is what you feel, and your whole body shakes with it. The orange light from beyond the crumbled wall of the elevator and two purple lights just in front of you shine brightly as the dweller beneath the Black Mausoleum stares at you and keeps a firm grip around your arm. For some reason, your stare is fixed back at the dweller, despite the strong fear in your heart. Then, a cough, another one, and another one. The dweller's thin and grey hand quickly lets go of your arm. The dweller places its hands around its mouth instead, just beneath the two purple lights, and keeps coughing. In the following moment, the purple lights suddenly vanish, and the orange light coming from behind the dweller turns white in the blink of an eye. This new white light even allows you to see the dweller in its entirety. The dweller stands slightly bent forward, just enough that you can't see its face just yet. Grey hue of the dweller's arm gradually changes, and its thin arms slowly grow thicker. You can see that the dweller is wearing a purple robe. The dweller's continued coughing magically lets out a thick beard that almost reaches down to the floor, and the dweller is wearing a pointy hat, a typical wizard hat, in fact. Then the dweller lets out one final cough that is so deep it makes your chest vibrate. The dweller sighs with relief as its skin hue turns from grey to a human-like skin color. There, that's better. The purple-robed man dusts off some dirt from his robes as he continues. I'm terribly sorry for scaring you like that. The purple-robed man scratches his beard where his chin is hiding beneath and stares at you for a few seconds. You look puzzled. Maybe you thought I was the vengeful wraith of George Bloody Mackenzie, risen up from the Black Mausoleum, yearning to kill yet again. Heavens no. He tilts his purple wizard hat to the side as dirt and sand pours down to the ground. George actually deeply regrets what he did back then in the 1600s. He wants you to know that. The purple-robed man's deep purple eyes lights up and he grins. Ah, I did scare you, but for a reason. And the good news is, he continues, that you passed the test. The purple-robed man raises his arms into the air and meets your gaze happily. But then he looks a bit troubled and scratches his long beard. Who is this purple-robed man, if he is not George Mackenzie? Ah, of course you don't remember. How silly of me. We agreed to put you in a state of amnesia, so you could live through this particular moment anew. The purple-robed man gently rests one of his hands on your arm. This test helped you to confront your fear of the dark. And that is the thing with fear. The only way to get better at handling fear is to confront it, to expose ourselves to it again and again. And each time we expose or do the things we fear, the better it will feel. Next time, it'll feel a bit better, and it will feel even better the time after that, until we're no longer afraid of it at all. Continuing to do it will start to feel like second nature. The purple-robed man stops for a moment, scratches his mustache, pondering something before he continues. There are, of course, some things that we fear that we should avoid confronting. Things that can hurt us physically, like running into traffic or jumping off a cliff. And there are things we may always feel a bit afraid of, regardless of how many times we do it, like doing public speaking or making an important phone call. But you know what? The purple-robed man lights up with a smile. That's completely okay. He gently bumps you on the arm. The most important thing of all is allowing yourself to feel the fear and do it anyway. Make decisions despite the fear. And if you fail, just try again. The most successful people are actually those who fail the most. So no need to feel discouraged. Failing is normal. The purple-robed man gives you a wide smile. The things I have just mentioned to you are real-life ways to grow as a person and as a human being. Bells can suddenly be heard from somewhere above. The purple-robed man gazes around after the source of the sound and looks at you with a smirk before he continues. You hear that? That is our call to leave. I wish you well, my friend, and know this. The purple-robed man meets your gaze and looks right into your soul. You can call upon me whenever you want. Just say my name and say what you want help with. I will come, for I am always there. And if the universe allows it, I will help. The purple-robed man starts to walk away from you into the white light when he suddenly stops, chuckling to himself, and looks back at you. Oh, I almost forgot that I didn't tell you my name this time. How silly of me. The purple-robed man meets your gaze with a grin. My name is Merlin. Click or tap the screen here to watch another dark fantasy story from Beery Tales. Check out free stories and get early access with the links in the description or the pinned comment below. And a special thank you to all of my Patreon members who made this story possible.